allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time, I'm going to open the public hearing on the 2021-22 Quincy School District budget. It'll be open throughout open session. We'll take it up under new business. If anybody has any questions, they can bring those questions up at any time during open session. Item 5, comments from the public. Dennis?
I guess I'm the only one.
Yeah.
For right now. Right now? You first.
How are you guys today?
Good.
How are you?
Are you anxious? I can't understand why. I wanted to say this because I haven't said this. This is directed at Roy, so I'm sorry, I'm directing at you again. I have learned when you deal with children, you do things that make a difference. That's one thing you taught me, Roy. And I watch you come through this school district from day one. Day 2, I come and I introduce myself to you. You said, can I do anything? That's day 2. And ever since then, you've been doing something. You have 6,000 students plus in your school district that you're accountable for. You have all your teachers, you have all your principals, deans, all of them. For one man to take care of all of that and hear the backlash of what he's hearing, I applaud you. Because no man should get beat up as much as you get beat up. No man. There's nothing wrong at saying, Roy, something's wrong. I do that. I'll come to your desk and I'll say, okay, Roy, we need to talk about this. But when I heard you say, maybe you need to get a new superintendent, that's when I knew something was wrong. I've been in Quincy, Illinois for 30 years. So I've been through a lot of superintendents. I've yet to see one that's better than you. I've yet to see that. And one of the things that I'm hard-headed about is when I believe in something, I do it. And I make sure that everybody hears it because it's the right thing as far as I'm concerned. But what I've learned along the way is, a police officer said this to me, a police officer, one of the things that people support and don't support. He said, in your community, you're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. So anybody that comes to you from this point on and tells you that you do wrong, you need to ask them, what are we as a community people going to do to fix it? Because you can't fix it alone. You're not Jesus Christ is walking out here and the Savior fixing everything for everybody else. You need to put it on their plate also. Because it's our community, not just yours. It's our kids, not just yours. It's our teachers, not just yours. Our principals, not just yours. And it's wrong to think that you're the only one that can fix it. Now, I know these board members are your board members. I get it. I understand it. And board, this is for you. You got the best one for many, many years. And I know a lot of you know that. I know you know it. And I know you support it. But the thing that bothers me the most is how vicious they are to me. And I know you can't stop it. But the reality of it is, if we're human beings and we believe in our community, then them people are telling you what's wrong, need to bring a solution to. Not just theirs, because they're not the only one who lives here, but a community solution. I want to thank you, Roy, and the board for at least being here, because I don't know if you get any money or not, but I know this, it can't be worth all the bashing that you got. It can't be. because that man is a human being, and they treat him like he's nobody. And this is my opinion from my community. And I want it to be better. Thank you for your time. Thank you for you taking time out to do this. But Roy, thank you for putting up with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. Other comments?
Hi, guys. He had great words, and I almost feel like I want to respond. I agree, and I think the solution from all of us is a freedom of choice. That's how you appease the masses, the freedom of choice. I also want to touch on a topic. This last week, I was able to go pick up a child that wasn't mine. I've never met this child, and I'm not saying that QPS has done a bad job. I'm just saying that there might be holes in some policies, and maybe we can look at that and see how we can do better. That's what I'm going to say on that. So, the brunt of my message tonight is, for the last few months, I've wondered why you guys keep fighting us so hard. We the people. Why can't we compromise? Like you said, for all of us. Why can't you have a conversation with us, an open dialogue? I've asked that several times. Don't know why we can't have it. Why we not only have to use our taxpayer dollars to pay for legal counsel for the district, but then have to turn around and pay more of our hard-earned dollars to hire additional legal counsel to fight for what we should already have, and that's a voice. You keep saying that you have to follow the executive orders of the mandates. Does the governor hire or elect each of you to represent him? Or is it the other way around? Let's just call a spade a spade. You sold us out to the devil himself.
Yep.
You have 23.9 million reasons to fight against all of us.
Yep.
That's right.
And each and every one of you should be absolutely ashamed of yourself for doing so.
Yes.
QPS has or will be receiving $23.9 million in COVID grants. That's an average of $4,000 per student. I'm going to assume that there were stipulations attached to these grants. So here's my question to you guys. Where's that correspondence from the state? Where's the stipulation saying you get this money if you do this? Are you willing to, on your own accord, publicly release that correspondence for the public to see? Where's that money going? What's it being used for? Who got that money? And will that be publicly discussed or displayed? I'll end with this. We're not done fighting for our rights and freedoms, and I promise you we will go broke doing it. Mr. Penn, I want to address you for a moment. You were so graciously going to draft a resolution for unity for their teachers regarding the Healthcare Right of Conscience Act, so that they had a choice to be vaccinated or tested. And I want to know if you're willing to do the same for QPS teachers. I ask, Board, because the Healthcare Right of Conscience Act, you're not protected. Tort immunity does not protect you from that. And each one of you can personally be held liable for 3 times the actual damages, including pain and suffering. And we will hold you liable. All we want is a choice for our students, for our teachers, because this is America. And nobody should have to be forced to do anything they don't want to do. If you want to get vaccinated, I support you 100%. But as an American, you should have the right to choose whether or not you want that. And it's not because you're an anti-vaxxer. Maybe you're just not ready. Maybe you personally just want to know what's the long-term effects of this, because we don't know. You guys need to act. They're coming after our children next. I'm aware that, Roy, you've probably been in contact with the Illinois Department of Public Health regarding the vaccine clinics that are going to be set up in our schools
No.
to vaccinate our children.
No way.
What are you going to do about that?
No.
Do we still get a
Not
choice?
agree with that.
That's all we want is a damn choice.
That's right.
And we come up here, meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, begging you for a choice, for a say-so in our own lives, regarding our own children. And you guys keep telling us, no, you don't have a choice, because we've got $23.9 million that we want, and so we have to comply. Screw your choice. We want the $23.9 million. That's not okay.
Nope.
I don't know what it's gonna take. I really don't.
Tyranny.
More court cases? I mean, we already have to use our taxpayer dollars to pay Penn, and then we gotta turn around and use more of our money to hire lawyers that will actually fight for us, not against us.
Not work with
But
ISB.
you got $23.9 million, so you can keep fighting us. We're done. And we're gonna keep fighting it, no matter how long it takes or how much money it takes. We just want a damn choice.
That's right.
Write something up. You think we've got a teacher shortage now?
Oh, you guys have no idea.
You have no idea what's coming.
No
You may
idea.
not know, but we do, because we're helping them.
And it's coming.
No idea.
It's coming.
You guys
It's coming.
have no idea. It's
No
yes,
idea.
You have no idea.
It's bigger than what you know.
You
Yep.
think your
They don't
boss
speak about it
probably,
here because they're afraid to.
Yes, that's
They don't
right.
talk to you about it, Roy, because they're afraid to.
That's
Your
right.
staff is actually coming to me now about how short you are in meetings,
Yep.
how you're losing your cool more often than you used to, and that you've got one foot out the door. I don't think you realize the severity of this. We love our teachers, each and every one of them, and we want to keep them because they're great. But damn it, give them a choice. We want to keep our teachers. We want to keep sending our children here.
This is America.
Quit backing us into a corner. Like he said, work together as a community. How can we do that when you guys aren't even willing to have a conversation with us? You're not willing to compromise. I think the best solution is just a choice. Give us a choice. And if Bisbee comes down on us, okay, we'll help you fight them.
Yeah.
We're used to it now.
Draft a resolution that says, hey, if Bisbee comes after us, you can use our taxpayer dollars to fight them. Something. Anything. Stop telling us no.
Stop being sheep.
Start talking to us about how we can work together for a solution for everybody in the community. Not just pro-maskers or pro-vacciners. They're not the only ones that matter. We do too. Start working with us and not against us.
I didn't plan to speak tonight, partly because
you mind stating your name?
Renee Mitchell, partly because I had written my comments, and ironically, the words I had addressed teamwork. Team. Mr. Penn wrote an op-ed speaking of teamwork
Yep.
while bashing the community. That's not teamwork. Complaining that we won't simply agree and comply is not part of teamwork. That's all we want. If you want to break it down to a vax or mask issue, which it isn't, it's rights, and it's our children that are being targeted very quickly. If we want to make it a mask or vax issue, look at it this way. What if those of you that prefer the mask and prefer the vax were told you can't have it? We're told, get it, deal with the consequences if there are any. What if that was returned to you? What if that was the advice we gave you? As strongly as you may feel about that topic, we feel the same way.
Yep.
And we all have children in this school that are gonna be next. We won't have a school. There's going to be a nursing shortage very soon. There will be a bigger teacher shortage
Yep.
very
Yes, there will.
soon.
Yes, there will be, I have no idea.
Very soon. Trust me on this.
Yep.
You won't have a school.
Right.
And what you do have left of a school will be a shell. I have not heard discussion from anyone, any one of you, as to why you vote the way you do, whether pro or con.
You work for us.
We hear a vote, but we don't hear any of your thoughts as to how you arrive at that opinion. That's not teamwork.
Nope.
I appreciate the fact that you are willing to serve on this board. We are also serving on a board. It's also voluntary. And we have children at play here. Trust me. We're not gonna let this go. I would prefer, as Ronnie said, that we work as a team. Mr. Penn, I know you've heard it a million times, I'm gonna say it again. While you or your firm are receiving compensation from ISB,
Yep.
you should not be involved
Your name should
with
be on there.
negotiations for our district. You can disagree, that's fine, that's part of being teamwork, we disagree. But
Well, so Renee, he doesn't directly receive compensation from ISB. He actually gets paid by QPS to perform the trainings. Is that accurate, Penn?
My name is not Penn, it's David Penn or Mr. Penn.
Okay, you know what? You know what? Let me rephrase that because
Is that accurate, though?
I did not phrase that correctly. What I intended to say, and like I said, I haven't prepared anything back, what I intended to say was that you have a relationship with them.
Yes.
That's a better word.
Do not-
Status,
Yep.
your status.
Conflict of
We are
interest.
certified
Your
as
status.
trainers. We are
Conflict of
certified
interest.
to provide training by the licensing.
Still conflict of interest.
It is
Lose
still a
your status.
relationship. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on.
Thank you.
Let's move on. You've seen us angry.
Yep.
You've seen us frustrated. You haven't seen us leave. We prefer to do it as a team. Parents and students and a board and a superintendent and an attorney. We prefer to stay calm. I'm sure you do as well. But we're not being heard. And honestly, you're not being heard because you don't let us be part of the discussion. You don't have your discussions
And you work for us.
in front of the public. And that never, never ends well, because then we can only assume. So I don't know what it's going to take, but we're not going anywhere. We have children that we're protecting. We have teachers that we're protecting.
Yep.
And we should not have to protect them from a board that refuses to work with their community.
We hired you to do that. You work for us, not them.
Mr. Webb, I would love to have you on board. I'm not gonna stand here and say you need to be replaced. But you need to allow us to take part in the conversation
Yep.
and in the decisions. And Mr. Penn, I would think that you would urge that. Because taking these things through court is not the right way to resolve these things. No one wins. No one wins. It wins right here, where we can all come together, have an honest discussion, and then act accordingly. And that's not happening. I want you to be the leader that encourages that. Just as you would encourage students to resolve conflict. It needs to be done that way here, at this podium, at these tables. We're here. The opportunity is right here in front of you. All of you. Let's work together. Because we're not giving up. We've got kids at stake.
We have freedoms at stake.
We've got freedoms at stake. And with the military background, I would hope that you, of all people, would appreciate that.
Absolutely. Nailed it.
We just welcomed back a hero this week.
Yes, we did.
Don't bring him back to see this nonsense of what he was over there fighting for to be stomped on. Mr. Webb, please, be the leader. Make the right decision, not the easy decision. Let your community help you. Because you've got people from every background, from every belief, willing to do that. The Facebook nonsense, it just makes matters worse. We're here. Let's have honest, productive conversations. And it doesn't cost them. And it doesn't go to court. Thank you.
Hi there, Mark Clark, I live here in Quincy. I pay taxes. My son goes to school at this very school. Roy, you know me, had a meeting in your office about a little debauchery over the Parkland school shooting. But I want to say something. I applaud the gentleman that's coming up and standing up for his friend, for you, Roy. That's what I wish my friends would do when they're doing the right thing. But in my opinion, the thing that he failed to say is we're not doing the right thing. We just did the Pledge of Allegiance. Did all of you put your hand on your heart and do the Pledge of Allegiance? Did you? Yeah, you did. Undivided. We are divided. This, in my opinion, is an opportunity to bring this community together.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity to lead, not fight. She did great. Did you listen to what she told you and what she said? The passion in her. She wants you to work together with us for our rights, for our liberties. You took an oath in the Army.
Yep.
Did you not? That's for life. That's not until you got this cushy little job.
Cushy, right?
No, it's not cushy, Roy. It's a tough job. But I got a tough job too. I got to teach my kid to stand up for what's right and for what's wrong and for what his rights are.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And what's happening is we're being lulled to sleep. Slowly, year by year, take this, take that. There are no laws. The last time I was here at this board meeting, we told you we were handling quarantine wrong. We cited you, the law, Mr. David Penn, and yet you refused to listen to the law, and we had to sue you.
Yep.
Why?
And when
Only one. You have a temporary restraining order. You can no longer quarantine in the fashion that you were. You all knew that what you were doing was wrong, yet you did it anyway. Why? Why? Why did you continue, Mr. Penn, when you knew you were wrong and you were going against the law? Why did you continue? This is what I'm talking about, people. This is what she's talking about. Give us an answer. When we come up here and take our time to talk to you, to stand up for our rights and our freedoms, and by the way, I was at the Riverside Cafe tonight, having dinner at the barbecue, and our hero that just came from Afghanistan was at the table next to me. And he says, "What's going on with this school board thing?" And I said, "Buddy, everything that you're over there fighting for, risking your life for, that we're celebrating you for, is what's going on."
Yep.
Everything
exactly
that you
right.
were there for.
That's right.
Everything that you entered the Army to do, you're violating those rights right now.
Yes, you are.
Everybody just stop, look in the mirror, and think about what you're doing. Represent the community with the right to make their own choices. I have no problem. If these folks want to wear masks and they think that's going to help them, God bless you. Wear your mask. I have no problem. If you want a vaccine, God bless you. Get a vaccine. To me, a vaccine is part of a virus that's injected into your body so that your body can build antibodies to fight a vaccine. This is not a vaccine. This is a man-made DNA injected into your body, not part of a virus.
Yep.
This is not natural. Some people have religious objections to this. I'm one of those. But some people accept it. If you want to do that to your body, it's your choice. That's what this country is about.
Amen.
That's right.
But by God, please start talking to us and take this as an opportunity to stand up and say, what are we doing here, people? Is it all about the money? Is it all about pleasing our government? Or is it about taking care of our kids and teaching them right from wrong and doing the right thing for our Constitution and liberties? I don't have much else to say.
Jody Cook, I have a child in the Quincy Public School System. Well, let me start by saying that those of you who I voted for to represent us and our children will never get my vote again. Let's throw a backbone to this nonsense. I trusted you would do what's right for our children, and you failed. You chose dollar signs instead. It appears that Quincy Public School System received 3 payments equaling about $25 million for COVID funding, which comes out to about $3,100 per child. Mr. Webb stated a few board meetings ago that QPS would lose funding if restrictions weren't complied with. My question is, seeing how funding for QPS is secured through 2023, is he referring to COVID funding? He gets COVID money, but with strings attached, and those strings are to control our children. So basically, QPS is selling our children for $3,100 a piece, while also telling our kids who had no choice over this to follow restrictions that aren't even legal by any stretch of the imagination. Again, mandates and orders are not law. No matter how they are worded or who barks them and how much you're getting paid to enforce them, they are not laws. My child is not for sale, and you all ought to be ashamed of the unethical immorality of trading our children's freedom, their mental health, and their physical health for money. My family ate at the Chinese restaurant yesterday, and the slip inside of my fortune cookie read, "Act like a role model, the younger is watching." I was struggling to find words for tonight's meeting, and I opened up the fortune cookie, and there it was. Me standing here today is a role model for our youth, not to blindly follow what others tell you to do, especially when it's illegal and immoral.
What you are doing is far from being a role model when you are accepting money in exchange for compliance to unlawful and unconstitutional orders handed down from a tyrant who is no different than the tyrant trying to order us around and take our freedom in 1776. But this one, over in Springfield or Chicago, most likely Chicago, is using our children to get it done. My child and others were harassed, targeted, verbally abused, gaslit, belittled, shamed, and intimidated by their teacher last year. She even harassed kids not even in her own class. Nothing was done about it. My child is once again being targeted by a teacher she doesn't even know, who pulled her out of her crowd last week on Wednesday saying rudely, "You need to pull your mask up." This teacher has no idea why my child's mask was under her nose. Fact is, she just came from health class where they'd been exercising and she was trying to catch her breath between classes. And her mask made her feel like she was gonna pass out, so she pulled it below her nose. This teacher called her out. My daughter said she needed to breathe, and the teacher said, "I don't care, pull it up," and made her pull her mask up. She told me about it that night, and I said, "I don't care what that teacher says. I'm in charge of your health care, not her. And if you can't breathe, I give you full permission to pull it down."
That's right.
What do they expect you to do? Pass out? To make a child pull a mask up when they just told you they can't breathe is not only inhumane, it's abuse.
That's right. That's right.
This year I gave my child a choice, and she wasn't going to wear a mask because it's her right as an American citizen to breathe clean air unrestricted. She was at first on board with that to begin with, but when she heard about the disciplinary actions that would happen if she didn't wear her mask, she changed her mind. She didn't want to get in trouble. She didn't want to miss school or have us get in trouble for her not being at school. So congratulations, you intimidated a child into compliance.
Bullies.
The teacher who confronted her Wednesday also harassed her Thursday. Again, she had exercise in health class, and again, she was winded and pulled her mask down while walking to her next class. The teacher called her over, told her to pull her mask over her nose, and said, "I thought I told you yesterday to keep your mask up. If I see you have it down again tomorrow, I'm going to start writing referrals," which means the teacher was telling my child that she would be stalking her the next day to see if she was complying. The next day, she again had her mask below her nose, and again, this teacher pulled her aside and said, "Remember yesterday how I told you that I would start writing referrals if I saw your mask below your nose again today? Yeah, well, today's that day. What's your name?" My daughter gave the teacher her name and a note that I wrote Thursday night before telling her that she has no right telling my daughter to pull her mask up, since masks by definition are a form of quarantine. And as we all know, only the health department and a court order can tell someone that they have to quarantine. Mr. Sparrow gave me a phone call Monday morning, and I repeated the same thing to him, that my child has my full permission to pull her mask down as she so chooses, if she is out of breath and needs to breathe. If this human right of being able to breathe is violated, I will seek legal representation. So far, this teacher has not bothered me to speak. What's sick is you are all being paid to do this to our children. You are being paid by the state to abuse them. And children aren't even the most at risk for COVID anyway. You know what's more dangerous to our children? Sex trafficking, bullying, drugs, suicide, the predatory, abusive teachers. According to an article in 17 magazine, 3.6% of children in schools have claimed to be sexually or otherwise assaulted by their teachers. There are 75 million children ages 0 to 17 in this country, and you know how many kids got COVID? Rounded up to the nearest 1,000, 280,000, or about 0.37% out of 75 million, less than 0.5%. Meanwhile, almost 4% of only school-age kids are getting sexually or otherwise abused by their teachers. And you're all worried about a 0.37% chance of COVID in a place they're least likely to get it, but most likely to be abused. I just got my child tested today for antibodies. She was positive. She likely got a mild form of it when the rest of my family was sick with it. You know what this means? According to the medical professionals at Blessing Hospital who told me this, she and me and other members of my family cannot get and cannot pass COVID to anyone because we are immune, which means there is zero reason for her to be wearing a medical device on her face that she does not need and does not want. Zero reason for her to be wearing this on her face. There is also no reason for immune the immune to be vaccinated. We are far better naturally vaccinated than the vaccinated are. Because the vaccinated are still getting COVID. And they're still dying from COVID. One of my dear friends just lost her father last week. And he
That's
was
pretty
fully
now.
vaccinated to COVID. There's absolutely no logical reason to make a child wear something that she medically and scientifically does not need. She is not sick, she cannot catch it, she cannot carry it or pass it while she has antibodies. This is what several doctors and nurse practitioners have told me when I was in the hospital with COVID, unless, of course, you don't trust or don't want to listen to the science coming out of Blessing Hospital. So I will reiterate, my child will take off her mask as she so well pleases because it's not a law, it's illegal. You need an order of quarantine to make her wear one. She's immune and doesn't medically need it. And most of all, no president, governor, school district, superintendent, board member, principal, or teacher is in charge of my child's health care. I am.
Other public comments?
All right, so I wrote what I'm going to say so I can try to stay on time. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Dr. Todd Porter, and I am a community pediatrician with a Master's of Science in Public Health. I recently moved my family here from Denver, Colorado, for the opportunity to practice pediatrics as well as raise my children with Midwest values. Prior to moving here, I was heavily involved in parent grassroots advocacy for in-person learning for our children. One great motivator for this advocacy was my heartbreaking experience of caring for low-income children of color in a large safety net hospital healthcare system, and being an eyewitness to the devastation these patients experience for our public health response to COVID-19 virus. If you've read about it, I saw it. Learning loss, school dropouts, obesity, anxiety, depression. Moving to Quincy with the desire to put all of this behind me, to provide a return to normalcy for my second, fourth, and sixth graders who are all in Quincy public schools. While I was not excited about the governor's statewide mask mandate for K-12, I was still willing to be hopeful that COVID would not sabotage a third academic year for my children. But then last week, my sixth grade daughter was quarantined, and I can no longer remain silent or complicit in these non-evident, evidence-based burdens we continue to place on our children. And I ask that you acknowledge that I speak as a parent and a community pediatrician and not on behalf of my employer. I am neither pro or anti-mask, nor am I pro or anti-vaccine.
Yes.
Yes.
I am pro-child and pro-parent choice.
Yes.
Because parents are the only true experts on what is best for their child.
That's right.
So tonight I want to talk to you about the science and how the data intersects with our current quarantine processes, and while doing so, please ponder this quote from George Bernard Shaw. Beware of false knowledge. It is more dangerous than ignorance. The purpose of speaking to all of you is to advocate for the immediate suspension of the use of rapid antigen testing for healthy quarantines, as well as the practice of out-of-school quarantines for any healthy exposed students. Real-world data has repeatedly proven that quarantining healthy students from schools has little to no effect on reducing in-school transmission of COVID-19.
Yes.
The CDC's own studies have shown that staff are the main drivers of in-school transmission, and CDC data from Utah and Springfield, Missouri public schools show that allowing asymptomatic mask-wearing students to self-monitor for symptoms after in-school exposure did not result in additional secondary transmission, while saving hundreds of hours of in-person learning. So beware of false knowledge. My daughter was exposed on a Friday, and we were notified the following Wednesday that she could do the test to stay option, which offered the Binax Now Rapid Antigen Test. This protocol requires testings on days 1, 3, 5, and 7. So days 1, 3, and 5 had already passed by the time we were notified, and she had been attending school and sports over this time and had been completely healthy. She attended school on day 6, yet we learned that there was no mechanism available for confirmatory PCR testing in the case of a false positive antigen test. Without available confirmatory PCR testing, she could be quarantined out of school and all of her activities for an additional 10 days, so we declined testing on day number 7. And my healthy sixth grade student missed school for no evidence-based reason. I will outline the flaws of our current process. CDC guidelines clearly state to not test under 5 days after exposure, and that a test on day 5 is acceptable for testing out at day 7, yet the test to stay option requires testing on days 1, 3, 5, and 7. So why? Studies show that the Binax Now Rapid Antigen Test can be unreliable with the risk of false positives to the low specificity and should not be done without a backup, or at least access to a backup confirmatory PCR option. So why in Adams County is a confirmatory PCR not available to everyone? Some healthy exposed students are treated differently because it is reported that their exposure was during non-mask wearing activities, such as eating lunch or PE. So why are these times viewed as higher risk, and why is the school putting our children in situations that they deem higher risk and thereby penalizing them for it?
Yeah. Good point.
There is an ethical obligation to first do no harm. Nearly every decision in life is influenced by ongoing benefit-harm calculations. It is inarguable fact that for 99% of children, COVID is a mild respiratory virus, much less virulent than seasonal influenza. A recent AAP statement reported, quote, while pediatric case numbers have been increasing, children are far less likely than adults to suffer serious disease or to die from COVID-19, end quote. The point is that if COVID-19 infection in a child is not coupled with high risk of hospitalization and death, then why in the 3rd academic year of this pandemic are we continuing to chase case counts in children? So please tell me how this protects children, and please do not tell me that we are burdening our children with these policies to protect adults who have access to a vaccine and are capable of protecting themselves. So beware of false knowledge. It is time to return normalcy to our children's lives. Thank you very much.
Good evening, I'm Steve McQueen. Thank you for those comments, Doctor, greatly appreciate that. I won't take much of your time. A lot of you I know, a lot of you I know personally, a lot of you I figure, I consider to be my friends. Some of you I work with or I have work relationships with. I'm not here to disrespect anyone. What I'm here to say is that I believe in my heart. See, the reason that this group is not as big as it has been in the past is because the rest of those people have given up. They no longer have any faith in you.
Yeah.
We're here because we still do have faith in you.
Amen. That's right.
There's other people out right now, I can assure you, I know because I just got off the phone with some of them. They're out raising money to further defend their position legally against you.
Yep.
We don't need to do that. We will. I will help them. I will help them with every hour of spare time that I have to do that. It's not because I don't like you. It's not because I am vaccinated. I'm a stage 4 cancer survivor. I took that risk, but you know what? I took that risk, and that thought process was my own.
Yes.
No one told me I had to do that. I did it because I love my family, I love my children, I love where I live, and I'd really like to be here for a while. Have I regretted it? The more I learn, yes, I've regretted it a little bit. Every day I learn more now about why maybe that wasn't a good idea, but I took that risk. That's on me. That has nothing to do with you. But when it comes to our children, that does have something to do with you. So please understand that when these people get up here, when that man just got up here, he didn't come up here because he wants to be on your bad list. He doesn't want that. I don't want that. I really don't. Am I vocal about this? I absolutely am, and I will continue to be. I do believe in freedom. I have great friends in this room on both sides of this conversation. I don't want to be in the middle of that, but I don't have a choice. But what we do have the choice to do here is actually have those conversations, and I think we can do that. Well, I know we can do that. We're going to have to reach out to each other. I'm reaching out right now. I will be glad to pull a group of people together to have a logical adult conversation about what's going on here. I understand you have pressure. I have a job like each of you does. I have responsibilities like each of you does. No one wants to be in that position. But we don't have a choice here. This group of people, they don't have a choice. This is their children we're talking about. It's not their dog. It's not their cat. These are real live people that they love with all their hearts. And I think you love them too. I really do, or you would not be here. I substitute taught when I retired from the military for about 6 months. God knows I am not meant to be a substitute teacher. All right? It takes special people to do that. You are some of those people, the people that took time to get out and talk to people and get yourselves elected to get up here and represent all parents and all students, okay? I understand our governor. No, I don't understand our governor. WGM, I'm taking that back. I'll never understand our governor. But I understand the situation. I understand there's pressure. Where does it stop? When does this stop? What's next? What do they come up with in 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 8 months? I don't think we know. But at some point, and again, this isn't about, if you're vaccinated, I already told you, I'm vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, I support your decision. 100%. I support your right. I support your right to believe that I should get vaccinated. I don't agree with it, but I support it, okay? Because you can't believe in the Constitution to believe that it's a one-sided deal where, you know, one side gets to win everything. That's not the way it works. All I can tell you is this. We're here because we still have faith in this board. There are people who are not here because they don't still have faith in this board. The reality is this. We want to work with you. Our drive is to work with you on this, but I haven't figured out how we can do it. I need your help figuring that out. We want to support you in supporting us. I'm not asking people to not get vaccinated. I'm just asking people to let people have freedom of choice.
Amen.
We've been talking about it since we were 5 years old and we were all in kindergarten. You know, we started with the Pledge of Allegiance and we had civics classes in high school and we learned all these things. And now to find out that, well, that only matters if Governor Pritzker says it's okay, that's not okay.
That's right. That's
Okay?
right.
So I'm reaching out to you. I need your help. We need to sit down and we need to be able to have a conversation. And I don't mean, 50-1. But we need to be able to sit down and have some conversations about how we can figure this out. and do so in a way that everyone feels good about that decision. That won't be easy, but I do believe it's possible. Thank you.
Thanks. Microphone down.
Members of the board, administration, parents, families, and friends, thank you for this opportunity to speak tonight. Approximately about 2 weeks ago, I had to remove my child from school because she had a doctor's appointment. She's at the junior high. I was surprised that I wasn't allowed in the school, but I guess with COVID and everything, it could be understood. Things are different now. So I assume that everything, sorry, I'm totally screwed here. Within a couple of minutes, my child was sent out to me, and she was on my way down to me. That night, I realized no one asked me for any security questions or any identification. When I called, all I had to do was say my name, and they released my child. My child has a critical alert that apparently has not transferred from her elementary school to middle school. So somewhere paperwork got lost. I'm not happy about that. I had another parent call, pretend to be me, and mispronounce my name twice, which is not very much of a deal, honestly. Because I'm not the secretary, we can't remember everybody's name, I get that. But this person did not even know my child did not know this person. They get to school, sent her out. Yes, I was with her. My car was parked around the corner. My child did not see me right away. She did not know who was picking her up. She thought it was me. But yet, the school released my child. This is very concerning to me and a lot of other families that I spoke to. We really need to figure another way to dismiss our children, especially those with a critical alert.
Hello, my name is Alexis Reese. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys, and I won't take much of your time. So I feel like I'm giving my first AP speech in junior.
You're doing great.
I'm a mother, I'm a taxpayer. I attended private school for most of my education, but I chose to transfer and graduate from QPS. I love my experiences here and my teachers for the most part. But I'm very concerned about the very controversial sex education bill that was passed and what you guys are going to be involving in the curriculum. When I was a graduate in 2012, I was an AP Lit and we had to read this book called The Kite Runner. And in the first few chapters of this book, an adolescent boy is raped by another adolescent boy in front of their peers. And I expressed in class my discomfort with the content of this book, and I spoke up about it. This was not a choose your book and go through assignments about this book. This was an assigned book. I told my guidance counselor about it, and I did read the book. I completed all of my assignments. I got A's on my assignments, but the whole time I did speak up about my discomfort with the assigned reading. Fast forward to 2021. I now have a 2-year-old, and I will be enrolling her in schools next year for preschool. The sex education bill that was passed is through K through 12. I am my child's parent. I will not co-parent with a school board, with ISB, that will not co-parent with the government. I raise my child. I am trying to find a school for her that will educate her, that will teach her life skills, English, math, assuming I will have to teach her critical thinking.
Amen.
I will also teach her and her ethics. And you guys are creating an entire generation of young parents where I will read every assignment she brings home. I will look at every book she is given. I will be at every parent-teacher meeting. I will show up to school board meetings. And this is nothing against you as individuals. This is because right now, in Illinois and across the entire country, we are seeing filth being uncovered in our schools.
That's right.
And we are a generation of parents who are not woke. We are awake.
That's right.
And this is not acceptable. And I will homeschool my child before I will ever allow a federal or state-run anything co-parent with me.
Amen.
Hello. I'm also a graduate of QHS, 1986. Loved my experience here. I guess Melissa Clark. I agree with everything everyone said. Freedom of choice.
My battery's gonna die, y'all.
Should be freedom of choice. And like she just said, we're the parents. We know what's best for our children. But what I'm here to ask is, tomorrow night, we're gonna have a homecoming parade. Shoulder to shoulder, packed in, no mask. Friday night, game night. No mask, shoulder to shoulder, but yet you're requiring masks for the homecoming dance. That is crazy.
It makes no sense.
If you're gonna let them do whatever they want and have no mask tomorrow night, Friday night at the game, it doesn't matter if it's inside or not. They're not gonna be as tight inside at that homecoming dance as they are at the football game, I guarantee you. So I'm asking you to consider reconsidering that option, because let them be kids, let them have fun, let them have what, I experienced in the 80s. It was so much fun. And I'm already hearing, I pick up some of my son's friends and take them home after school. They're all already talking about this, of what utter nonsense it is, because, again, tomorrow night and at the games, they're closer and tighter than any place in school, or they will be at the dance with no mask. And they're making fun of it. That's crazy. So I'm asking you to reconsider that. But everything that everyone said here tonight, I completely agree with. Freedom of choice. This is America. We have freedoms. The Constitution allows us those freedoms. And I wouldn't want to be on the board. And I would just ask all of you to look inside yourselves on everything that's been spoken about tonight. Because it really does come down to freedom. This is America. It's not Russia. It's not Europe. And to me, it's really scary to think about how many people are just bowing down and cowering